They call you strong. Maybe it's how you carry yourself, the way you handle pressure without breaking, the way you protect others, no matter what it costs you. But strength doesn't always save you, because sometimes the real danger doesn't come from a man, a fight, or a challenge. It comes from a woman, not just any woman. Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, warned us about her. The type who doesn't crush your bones, but your soul. Who doesn't scream, but whispers in ways that haunt you. This isn't about hate. This is about psychology. Deep patterns buried in the unconscious. Feminine energy that doesn't love. It consumes. That doesn't support. It binds. It doesn't hold you up. It quietly pulls you under. You've seen her. Maybe you've even loved her. And if you're not careful, you'll meet her again. Jung spent his life studying the hidden parts of the human mind, the unconscious. And he saw something strange, a magnetic pull between some men and certain types of women. The attraction wasn't logical, it was psychological, it was projection. A man sees not who a woman is, but who he wants her to be. He projects his unmet needs onto her like a screen. And when the illusion breaks, it's not just heartbreak, it's an identity crisis. Jung believed every man carries an inner feminine called the anima. And when that inner feminine isn't understood, it gets projected outward onto women who seem magical, but are mirrors. Here's the danger. You think you're falling in love, but you're really chasing a missing piece of yourself. And in doing so, you risk losing everything. This video will uncover 6 types of women Carl Jung believed could break even the strongest men. Not because they're evil, but because they awaken a part of you that you haven't faced. And if you haven't faced it, they will. And once they get inside, they don't leave quietly. So before you destroy yourself trying to love someone who only exists in your mind, listen. This understanding could save your life. It could be the difference between building an empire and watching it all burn down from the inside. Let's start with the first, the wounded siren. She doesn't demand attention. She doesn't beg for love. She carries pain like perfume, soft, but impossible to ignore. There's a sadness in her eyes, a quiet ache in her voice. You don't just notice her, you feel her, and that's the trap. She doesn't ask you to save her, but something inside you wants to. This is anima projection in full force. She triggers the hero inside you. You think it's love, but it's duty. You think you're choosing her, but you're answering a psychological call. She tells you about her broken past, the toxic ex, the childhood scars, the loneliness. And you step in like a soldier, thinking you were meant to fix her. But here's the cold truth. You can't fix someone who doesn't want to heal. Some people find comfort in being broken. And if you're not careful, you'll bleed yourself dry trying to carry their pain. You've seen it. Strong men, once clear-headed and driven, slowly losing themselves. They start apologizing for things they didn't do, changing who they are to avoid upsetting her. Their lives don't revolve around growth anymore. They revolve around her wounds. The more she hurts, the more they stay. Why? Because they've confused empathy with obligation. Let's be honest. Have you ever stayed in a relationship too long? Not because it was good for you, but because you felt guilty leaving. That's not love. That's emotional slavery, and Jung would call it what it is. Your shadow, your unconscious desire to be needed. And she, the wounded siren, knows how to feed it. Maybe not on purpose, maybe she's not manipulating, but the result is the same. If you ignore the signs, you won't be saving her, you'll be sacrificing yourself. So ask yourself, are you helping her heal? Or are you making yourself sick trying, because not every cry for help is yours to answer, and not every beautiful tragedy is your job to fix? Now let's talk about the second type, the eternal victim. She doesn't need to seduce you. All she needs is your sympathy. And once she gets it, she'll keep pulling. She lives in crisis, not because she loves pain, but because she knows how to use it. Carl Jung warned about the shadow, the hidden side of us that manipulates from the dark. The eternal victim is the feminine face of that shadow. She plays weak, but her helplessness is a mask for control. At first, she seems innocent, fragile, misunderstood. Her stories all sound the same. They hurt me. They betrayed me. They never understood me, and you, the strong man, become her emotional bodyguard. You defend her, you support her, you start carrying her emotional load along with your own, but slowly, it becomes too much, and nothing you do is ever enough. Her life is a storm, always, but she's never holding the umbrella. You are. Have you ever met someone who attracts drama like a magnet, and then blames everyone else for the chaos? Who never apologizes, but always wants your understanding? Who says, "You're the only one who gets me," right after unloading her trauma on you again? That's not love. That's manipulation dressed as need. And the worst part? She makes you feel guilty for protecting yourself. You try to set boundaries, and suddenly you're the bad guy. Jung would say that if a man hasn't faced his own fear of rejection, he becomes a slave to the woman who can weaponize pain. He stays not out of love, but out of guilt. And guilt is a slow poison. So ask yourself, are you being a partner, or just her emotional punching bag? Are you offering love, or feeding a cycle designed to never end? Because real strength isn't just staying, it's knowing when to walk away, even from someone who says they need you more than anything. You thought she was the one. The connection felt real. But now you're sitting alone, confused, asking yourself, was any of it even real? That's the trap of illusion. And by the time you wake up, it's too late. She's already walked away. With your trust, your time, and maybe even your future. Have you ever seen a man give everything to a woman? His heart, his energy, his dreams, only to realize she never loved him? Not really. She only loved how he made her feel about herself. And when that feeling faded, she disappeared. No goodbye, no closure, just silence. Carl Jung warned us, if a man hasn't faced the feminine side of his own soul, what he called the anima, he will spend his life chasing it in women. He'll believe she's his salvation, but the truth, she's just playing a part he wrote in his own head. You don't fall in love with her. You fall in love with the fantasy of who you thought she was. So take a hard look. Are you truly seeing? Or you're just seeing yourself reflected in her eyes, because the most dangerous illusions are the ones we help create. Now let's talk about a woman who doesn't reflect your fantasy at all. She challenges it, not to grow with you, but to control you. This is the fourth type, the queen without a king. At first glance, she's a force of nature, confident, ambitious. She walks into a room like she owns it. And let's be honest, there's something magnetic about that. She doesn't beg. She doesn't chase. She makes you feel like you're in the presence of royalty. But Carl Jung would tell you, beware. When a woman becomes so obsessed with control that she can't share power, she stops looking for a partner. She starts looking for someone to rule. Over this is the woman ruled by her animus, the masculine energy inside her, When that energy is balanced, she's wise, assertive, and self-aware. But when it's wounded or overgrown, it becomes something else entirely: domination, criticism, emotional coldness. She doesn't want to build a kingdom with you. She wants to be the only ruler, and she'll test you at every turn. She won't challenge your ideas with respect. She'll mock them. She won't ask for your opinion. She'll tell you what to think. If you stand your ground, she'll call you controlling, insecure, even toxic. Not because you are, but because she can't handle another strong force in her space. You've seen it before. The once confident man goes quiet. He stops sharing his thoughts. Not because he's weak, but because every disagreement leads to a fight, withdrawal, or punishment. He walks on eggshells, trying to avoid conflict, thinking that's what love requires. But Carl Jung said, a man who hasn't fully claimed his masculine energy will be drawn to this kind of woman. Deep down, he thinks he has to prove he deserves love. So he tolerates the disrespect, the control, the constant battles. He confuses silence for peace. He thinks being passive is being strong, but that's not partnership. That's self-destruction. If a woman needs you to shrink so she can shine, she's not building a kingdom. She's building a cage. So ask yourself, do you feel respected in your relationship or just tolerated? Are you growing together, or are you slowly being dismantled one piece at a time? Because no matter how polished her crown is, a queen without a king isn't building a legacy. She's just defending a fortress of fear. Now comes the fifth type, and she's even more dangerous because she doesn't come at you with control. She comes with openness. She makes you feel seen, heard, understood. She listens to your pain. She wants to know your story. And for the first time in a long time, you let someone in. But here's the twist. This is not love. This is strategy. This is the soul thief. She doesn't dominate. She doesn't demand. She simply opens herself to you and makes you feel safe. She's everything you thought you needed. But behind her soft eyes and gentle words, she's taking notes. Jung believed the soul longs for union, the joining of masculine and feminine, light and dark, and the soul thief knows this. But she doesn't want to merge with your soul. She wants to weaponize it. She collects your secrets, your childhood wounds, your deepest fears, and later she uses them, not to connect, but to control. At first, it feels like love. Then one day, you realize every argument is a battlefield, and your own words are the bullets. That story you told her, the one that brought tears to her eyes, she'll throw it back in your face to win, to shame you, to shut you down. You begin to second-guess everything. You hesitate before speaking. Not because you're hiding something, but because you're afraid your truth will be turned against you. That's not vulnerability. That's psychological warfare. She doesn't want to know you to heal with you. She wants to own your story, so she can bend you when it suits her. And the worst part, she'll always do it with a smile. Calm voice, gentle touch. But underneath, she's pulling your soul apart, piece by piece. This is not love. It's manipulation dressed in empathy. And once you're hooked, it's hard to tell the difference between safety and a trap. So ask yourself, does she protect your heart or study it like a map? Is she healing with you or using your pain to control you? Because the soul thief doesn't need chains to hold you. She just needs your trust. And once she has it, she'll own the deepest parts of you, and you won't even know you've been captured until it's too late. Have you ever trusted someone so deeply, only to feel your own words turned against you? She didn't yell. She didn't threaten. She just used your truth like a blade. Quiet, precise, deadly. The things you told her, the things that once brought you close, now feel like traps. Carl Jung warned us about this type of woman. Not evil, not possessed in the way we think of ghosts or demons, but psychologically taken over by something darker, the shadow. This woman doesn't want to connect. She wants to conquer. And the strong man who hasn't healed the part of him that craves being understood, he becomes her favorite target. He tells her everything. Then one day he realizes he gave his soul to someone who only wanted leverage. Real love doesn't punish you for being honest. Real love protects your vulnerability. The woman who truly loves you will guard your heart like it's her own. She won't use your story to control you, but the most dangerous woman of all is the one who doesn't try to control you at all. She sets you on fire. This is the sixth and final type, the Chaos Muse. She doesn't show up quietly. No. When she enters your life, it's like lightning. Everything changes, colors feel brighter, music sounds louder, emotions intense, and you feel more alive than ever before. You forget your plans, your rules, your peace. You do things you never thought you'd do just to keep the high going. But that's the trick. It's always a high, and what goes up must crash down. Carl Jung said the feminine within a man, what he called the anima, can open the door to inspiration or madness. The Chaos Muse opens that door wide. She pulls out the wildest, deepest, most creative parts of you, but she doesn't stay. She lights the fire and walks away. And when she's gone, you're left standing in the ashes. That wasn't love. That was emotional intoxication. Have you seen a man walk away from his values, his goals, even his family, for a woman who made him feel alive again, only to be left confused, broke, or emotionally wrecked? That's not chemistry. That's chaos dressed in beauty. She might think she's an artist, a free spirit, a muse, but what she doesn't see is the emotional destruction she leaves behind. Because while she moves on quickly, the men she touches often don't recover. But here's the terrifying truth. She didn't break into your life. You opened the door. You invited her in, because deep down you were tired of being safe. You wanted the fire, and when a man hasn't made peace with his own chaos, he mistakes hers for freedom. Jung said this woman doesn't just stir emotions. She awakens the unhealed shadow, the part of you that wants to feel everything, no matter the cost, the part that believes peace is boring. But without awareness, that freedom destroys your foundation. So ask yourself, are you truly living more, or just living more recklessly? If her passion leaves you confused, empty, unstable, she wasn't your muse. She was your mirror, reflecting the parts of you that still crave danger. Now that we've seen all six, ask yourself this. It's not just about which women to avoid. The deeper question is, why were you drawn to them in the first place? Because here's the truth. Most men never hear every dangerous woman you've ever met, every siren, every manipulator, every illusion wasn't just bad luck. She was a reflection of something inside you that you haven't faced yet. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. How many times have you said, I always attract the wrong women, or why does this keep happening to me? It's not fate, it's a pattern, and patterns don't change just because you avoid people. They change when you face the part of yourself that keeps calling them in. Maybe you've been the rescuer, the fixer, the silent protector. Maybe you've mistaken pain for love, or guilt for loyalty. Maybe you've been giving away pieces of yourself, hoping she'll finally see you, value you, stay with you. But no woman, no matter how beautiful, how magnetic, how intoxicating, can heal what you refuse to face in yourself. That's your job. That's your path. It's not about avoiding women. It's about growing past the need for the ones who destroy you. So let me ask you something, and I want your honest answer in the comments. Which of these 6 women have you met? And more importantly, which one are you still healing from? Your story might help another man find his strength, his clarity, his peace. And if this video hit something real inside you, something raw, something you've never been able to put into words before, then like this video, share it, subscribe, because this isn't just about protecting strong men, it's about helping them stay strong, and that begins with truth, inner truth, Jung's truth, your truth. Stop calling it fate, call it what it is, a reflection, and then break the mirror.